something became clear. Not suddenly, not in a single dramatic moment of revelation. It came the way most important realizations come, slowly, almost quietly, through the accumulation of small observations that individually seemed insignificant, moments that could be explained away, interactions that could be dismissed as misunderstandings, patterns that were easy to ignore when seen in isolation. But over time, those fragments began to align, and one day, what once looked like scattered details suddenly formed a coherent picture. You saw the full shape of it. You saw how far it had gone. You saw the effort that had been extended over a long period of time, not loudly, not openly, but persistently, in the direction of destabilizing you. And when that clarity arrived, something else came with it, a realization that may have been even more striking than the harm itself. Because the truth is this: people do not invest enormous energy dismantling something that poses no threat to them. The scale of what was directed toward you was not random. It was not accidental. In a strange and unexpected way, it was a form of acknowledgment, an acknowledgment of your presence, an acknowledgment of your strength, an acknowledgment of your capacity. Understanding that capacity matters now more than ever, where it came from, how it formed, and what it means for everything you build moving forward. Because there is a quality within certain individuals that is extraordinarily difficult to manufacture and almost impossible to destroy once it has been genuinely built. Psychologists sometimes describe it as identity coherence. It is the degree to which a person's sense of self remains stable across time, across environments, and across challenges designed to fragment it. Identity coherence is not stubbornness. It is not inflexibility. It does not mean refusing to grow or refusing to evolve. Instead, it is something closer to an internal spine, a structural continuity that remains intact even while life is changing around it. It is the quiet certainty that who you are cannot be easily rewritten by the opinions, projections, or misunderstandings of others. And if you look honestly at your own journey, you may recognize something important. You did not develop this stability in comfortable circumstances. Identity coherence of this depth rarely forms in environments where everything is easy and supportive. It forms under pressure. It forms in the difficult terrain of being misunderstood. It forms in moments when your intentions were questioned, your character was misrepresented, or your perspective was dismissed. It forms when the surrounding environment repeatedly suggests that the version of you others prefer is smaller than the one you know yourself to be. In those moments, a choice quietly emerges. You can abandon your perception in order to maintain harmony with the environment, or you can hold on to what you know is true. Every time you chose the second option, even when the pressure to let go was strong, something was strengthening inside you. Each moment of clarity reinforced the structure. Each refusal to abandon your own understanding deepened the internal foundation you now stand on. Over time, you developed something remarkable, an internal verification system. The ability to compare your lived experience with the narratives around you and recognize when those narratives were distorted. That ability does not arrive overnight. It is built through experience. It is built through observation. And sometimes it is built through adversity. Because adversity forces the mind to pay closer attention. It forces you to ask deeper questions. It forces you to examine the difference between perception and reality. Through that process, you became skilled at identifying patterns. Patterns in behavior, patterns in communication, patterns in relational dynamics. And eventually, Those patterns revealed something about the situation you had been navigating. What you experienced was not random. It followed a recognizable structure. Certain relational dynamics operate through subtle psychological mechanisms. They involve reality distortion. They involve cycles of approval, followed by withdrawal. They involve subtle isolation from outside perspectives. They involve small, repeated signals designed to make someone question their own perception of events. Each individual moment may appear minor, a comment that feels slightly dismissive, a contradiction that leaves you confused, a conversation that subtly shifts blame in your direction. But when those moments accumulate, they create something powerful. They create doubt. Not just doubt about the situation, but doubt about yourself. Doubt about whether your interpretation of events is accurate. Doubt about whether your memory is reliable. Doubt about whether your reactions are justified. And when that doubt grows strong enough, it changes the balance of authority in a relationship. The person introducing the doubt becomes the one defining reality. Your perspective becomes secondary. Your experience becomes negotiable. Your voice becomes quieter. That is the architecture of many destabilizing dynamics. But there is something important about patterns like these. They depend on operating below the level of awareness. Once the structure becomes visible, the mechanism begins to lose its power. And that is exactly what happened. At some point, the pieces connected. The pattern revealed itself. And when it did, the entire dynamic shifted. Because clarity changes everything. It restores something fundamental that had been under pressure. Your ability to trust your own perception. This capacity is sometimes described as epistemic autonomy. It is the ability to recognize your own cognition as a valid source of information about your experience. In environments designed to undermine you, that capacity is often the first target. Repeated messages appear in subtle ways. Your memory is unreliable. Your interpretation is exaggerated. Your perception is flawed. When those messages repeat long enough, they can erode confidence in your own awareness. But something within you resisted that erosion. Even when doubt appeared, even when confusion surfaced, a thread remained, a quiet sense that your perception still mattered. And the fact that you can now look back and see the situation with clarity is proof that the thread was never fully broken. That clarity alone represents an enormous psychological achievement. But it was not the only capacity that developed. Another ability formed gradually through the process: pattern recognition. When someone spends enough time inside a complex relational dynamic, the brain begins mapping its structure in detail. It begins by recognizing recurring signals. It begins by predicting how certain behaviors lead to certain outcomes. Over time, the mind constructs an internal map of the dynamic, and once that map exists, similar patterns become easier to recognize in the future. This is not suspicion. It is not paranoia. It is perception refined through experience. Your mind learned the architecture of the pattern, and once the architecture is known, it becomes much harder for the same pattern to operate unnoticed again. There is one more capacity that developed during this process, though it is often the hardest to recognize: the ability to witness, to observe a situation, even a painful one, without becoming completely consumed by it. This does not mean you stopped feeling. It does not mean the experience did not hurt. It means that over time, you developed the ability to hold your emotions while still seeing the larger picture. You created a small but crucial distance between reaction and awareness. That distance allowed you to think clearly, even when circumstances were emotionally intense. This is not emotional detachment. It is emotional regulation. And it is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. Because when emotional regulation exists, situations that once felt overwhelming become navigable. Painful experiences can be processed rather than simply endured, and meaning can eventually emerge from circumstances that once seemed chaotic. Pain of this kind carries weight. It settles into the body. It influences how you move through relationships. It affects how you read the intentions of others. And there are different ways people respond to that weight. Some people release it outward. They transfer the hurt they experienced into future interactions. Others suppress it. They bury it beneath the surface, where it quietly shapes their reactions without conscious awareness. But there is another possibility: to metabolize it, to engage with the reality of what happened deeply enough that the pain transforms into insight, into awareness, into wisdom that strengthens your future rather than repeating your past. Metabolizing pain is not easy. It requires honesty, it requires patience, and it requires the willingness to sit with difficult emotions without rushing to escape them. But when that process occurs, something remarkable happens. The experience stops being merely something that happened to you. It becomes something that contributed to your development. The clarity you now carry suggests that this transformation has already begun. You did not pass the pain forward. You chose awareness instead. And that choice reveals something profound about your character. The exposure of how far things went has value. It closes the distance between suspicion and understanding. It confirms that your perception of events was grounded in reality. That confirmation matters. It resolves the lingering self-doubt that situations like this often create. But the exposure itself is not the destination. Your identity cannot be built around what someone attempted to do to you. The most powerful use of this understanding is much simpler. Let it close the chapter. Let it resolve the uncertainty. Let it become part of your story, but not the entire story. Because the qualities that emerged from this experience are not temporary. They are durable. Identity coherence, trust in your own perception, pattern recognition, emotional steadiness, the discipline to process pain rather than transfer it. These are not minor developments. They are structural capacities. And structures built under difficult conditions are often the most stable ones a person possesses. What you carry forward now is not just survival. It is awareness. And awareness is the beginning of a different kind of future. One built not on reaction, but on clarity. The same awareness that allowed you to understand what happened can now guide how you move forward. You have already demonstrated something powerful. The ability to face difficult truths without turning away. That ability will continue to serve you. Because self-awareness is not a destination. It is a practice. A practice of observing yourself with honesty. A practice of recognizing patterns without judgment. A practice of staying connected to your own perception, even when the world around you becomes complicated. The exposure is complete. The understanding is yours. And what you choose to build next, with everything this season of your life gave you, is the only question that remains. It is a question worthy of your attention, and perhaps even worthy of your excitement, Because clarity, once gained, changes the path ahead in ways that are often difficult to imagine from the beginning. This is the inner calling. I will see you in the next one.